this leads us into what will be known as the Battle of Henderson Field. Now, for this battle, I'm going to tell one particular story to give you an idea of what this battle is like. And again, this episode is unique because we are dealing with like the legends of legends when it comes to Marine Corps history and lore, right? Like there are maybe two other guys that are in this category, the same category as Chesty Puller and who I'm getting ready to talk about, which is John Basilone. Maybe two other guys. Yep. Dan Daly.
Yep.
Archibald Henderson, maybe. I don't know. I don't even know if Henderson would be in that category. It's hard to say.
It's just a name. Well, it's a name that we're very familiar with in our history of the Marine Corps. So it's like, well, if you're in that bunch. I don't know what they've all done, but it's important to mention everything that they have done.
Well, I look at it like he's what everybody, at least in the, I don't know, man. I don't know how the other MOSs are, but for infantry guys, he's like the epitome of what you strive to be.
Yes.
John Basilone, as an enlisted guy. Like that's what you're shooting for. And that has to do with more than just what he does here at Guadalcanal. It has to do with everything in his story. But to get into this action, Sergeant John Basilone he is assigned to D Company 17, but for this action, he will actually be attached to C Company. And he is manning him and his two machine gun sections, which he's in charge of. That's 4 guns total, 2 machine gun sections. They have the Browning Model 1917 A1, which is the 30 caliber machine gun with the big water cool barrel on it. It's got the big round thing on it. He's got 4 of those guns set up, protecting a pretty massive avenue of approach through this sector of the jungle. And he's right. He's in between. If you're looking at a map of this engagement, he is pretty much in the middle of between Coffin Corner and Edson's Ridge. They're two like predominant features that are known on this part of the line. His position is almost smack dab in the middle of those two areas. His machine guns are going to be set up about 30 yards apart, two in one position, 2 in another position, like we were talking about earlier. And him and his guys are sitting there waiting, right? And then eventually they get word, they get told, okay, we got word the Japanese are coming, so they're all ready to go. And just after 10 p.m., they could hear the Japanese cutting the barbed wire that they had in front of their position. It's close. Dark, man. It's in the jungle and it's dark. And
Sure.
Basilone is not up on a ridge. I've seen footage, like video footage of where his position is on Guadalcanal, and I know it probably looks different now than it did then. I'm sure they had cut down some of the vegetation. I knew they were cutting firing lanes at the time to try to, be able to see the Japanese better. But dude, it is thick jungle. It's not, there ain't nothing open about it,
It's not really what you think about if you think of World War II. You don't think so much jungle warfare, but just hellacious to say the least.
I mean, yeah,
craziness.
They're going to be, it's dark. You're under a canopy, so it's dark, and there's a lot of crap out there that's moving on its own. Like leaves on trees, and you can't tell if it's a Japanese soldier or if it's just something you don't know.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, a little after 10, they hear the barbed wire being cut, and it's going to be about 130 men from the Japanese 9th Company of the 29th Infantry Regiment. And this poor company, over the course of the next little bit, is going to pretty much be devastated. I mean, just absolutely torn to pieces by John Basilone. Because really, within the first few minutes of this fight, John Basilone has 2 machine gun sections. And so I want to say he's in charge of... I want to say he's in charge of, I think there might be 6 guys per section, something like that. 12 to 15 guys is who he has in his command. Within the first few minutes of this fight, it's going to be him and 2 other dudes.
That's intensity.
That's it. And they're going to be holding off like 200-300 guys by themselves. But needless to say, that it's the Japanese are here, they're coming. So Basilone will tell his Marines to let the enemy get within 30 yards before opening fire. And sure enough, when they do, they go hot, right?
That's
They start laying into them. He would actually write, John Basilone would actually write the noise. This is him speaking, quote, "The noise was terrific, and I could see the Japs leaping as they were by our bullets, screaming, yelling, and dying all at the same time. Still, they came only to fall back, twisting and going through all sorts of motions as we dispatched them to their honorable ancestors," end quote. I mean, he sounds like a savage even now, dude.
Well said at the end there.
As we dispatched them to their honorable ancestors. That's a line, dude. That's a line. But he's saying they're seeing them leaping and dancing. That's the 30 caliber rounds catching them, catching them and moving them all over the place. They will end up, they'll end up holding off this first attack, but eventually, like I said, a Marine of his is going to be coming, it will run over from the other machine gun position. Again, he's got the 2 machine gun positions. He's in one right now. The other one's 30 yards away. And one of the Marines from that position will run over and say, "Hey, both guns got taken out and all the guys are dead or wounded." Which every infantryman knows, when you're in a big gunfight, the last thing you can allow to happen is the machine gun to go down.
Yeah.
You always need the gun up. Even if you're not a machine gunner, get that gun up,
yep.
right? I mean, that is everybody in the infantry, at least when we were in, you learned how to use a saw, a 240, a 50 cal, and a Mark 19. Everybody had to be proficient with it.
Yep. Because
they're that important on a battlefield. They are game changers, right? And in an attack like this, you cannot allow part of that, that intersecting field of fire. You can't allow part of that field of fire to be taken out. So John Basilone grabs 2 men, the 2 guys that he has left, Ed Garland and John Powell, and they crawl through the rain towards this other position. And John Basilone is carrying a machine gun with him. He takes one from that first position just in case they can't get anything up. At least each position will have one gun.
Okay.
While en route to this other position, the 3 Marines are going to run into a group of Japanese soldiers, and John Basilone, just like the freaking show, dude, from the hip, will shoot all the Japanese in this group from the hip with that 30 caliber machine gun. I mean, that's crazy, dude.
Nothing's going to stop him. It's an urgent matter. He's going over there to get them guns up.
And I got a job to do, man.
Yeah, getting through this.
They end up making it to this other position, the right side gun position, and they'll see the 5 men that are dead and the 2 others that are injured in this machine gun position. As they're getting into this hole, the Japanese launch another charge, launch another assault. Using the machine gun he carried from the first hole, he places it on top of the sandbags, no tripod, no nothing, just like they show in the show, and starts laying into these Japanese soldiers. Eventually, he pushes them back, and it gives him a few minutes to inspect these disabled guns. The first gun that he looks at is going to be beyond repair. The second gun, however, he thought he could get put together if he took pieces from that first gun, right? He could take pieces from one, put it into the other, and salvage it. There's no light, right? He's having to do all this by feel and under a constant threat of a Japanese banzai charge. High stakes. Again, another group of Japanese will end up attacking, but this group, I think, are trying to actually do what at the time they would call infiltration tactics. The Japanese would try to sneak past the American lines, get in the rear of the lines, and then jump into foxholes with Marines and stuff. There's a group of Japanese soldiers that don't see him and his guys laying in this position. They're laying down, in this hole. They don't see him.
Yeah.
And this group of Japanese soldiers walk by him. And John Basilone sits up, pulls out his .45, and just, quietly sits up, pulls it out, and shoots them all. And then goes right back to
wrenching.
Yeah. It's not like in the movie they show him engaging with his pistol and it's like this, he's freaking out. No, he notices that there's some Japs walking by. He sits up, then right back down to work. I mean,
how about that? Little quick break for him.
Well,
back to work.
It's something that had to be handled. But dude, you can't convey the nerves that you probably. I mean, dude, for them to be close enough for that 45 to really do damage
in that thick of a jungle.
at nighttime, they got to be close.
Yeah.
And they have rifles and submachine guns and you're going to engage them with a pistol.
In front of you, behind you, next to you.
No thanks. But hey, man, like I said, the epitome of a Marine here. Now, eventually, Basilone would get that gun fixed and get it up and working again. From this point, you get, in the story, we're told that what Basilone does, there's 2 machine guns in this position. He brought one and repaired one, so they have those 2 guns set up now. And instead of having, his 2 guys manning the guns, what he would have them do is make sure that the guns stay loaded. So John Basilone would be firing from one machine gun. As soon as he went dry, he would roll to the other gun, 5 feet to the left or right. He'd roll over to the next gun without getting up. Either Ed Garland or John Powell would reload the gun he had just finished firing, make sure there was water in the tube and all that stuff, while John Basilone's firing the other machine gun. So there's never a lull in machine gun fire. He's just rolling back and forth from one to the other. And, just this guy, he just seemed like he was about the fight, dude. Like, someone you want on your side. Kind of remind you know who I think of when I think of John Basilone?
Oh,
Alex Pomar.
Oh yeah, makes sense to me.
But
he was one, actually. He was a machine gunner first.
Yeah. But anyways, he just a little, just crazy enough. Not actually crazy. He's just crazy enough that you're like, man, I'm really glad that dude's on my side and not the other side. Yeah. But that being said, the enemy is going to continue to launch numerous charges throughout the night, and just like in the show, there's in the Pacific, there's a scene where John Basilone runs out and have to push over this stack of Japanese bodies that have been piling up to get clear fields of fire.
Yeah,
that is true. However, it's not John Basilone that runs out to do that. John Basilone actually orders Ed Garland to go out and do that, which good luck finding anything on Ed Garland and John Powell. I searched high and low, almost nothing on these 2 guys, and they make up a very large part of this story. And it's unfortunate I don't know more about their experience to be able to add it into this story. But Ed Garland will actually run out and push over that pile of Japanese bodies to give Basilone a clear field of fire, which is crazy. That's crazy to me.
Damage, a lot of carnage.
But that being said, at some point, these, to give you an idea of how much fire is taking place, between John Basilone's 4 guns, he's going to shoot roughly 120 to 160,000 rounds in one night.
Whoa.
So a lot of machine gun rounds.
That's why it takes so long to unload these ships and stuff for days and nights, because imagine having all that ammo. It's like 30,000 per gun.
Yeah. In a few hours.
You got to hump it all out there. Nuts, dude.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, because I don't think they started with that much ammo out there, because eventually they do run out of ammunition, and Basilone has to make a run back for an ammo resupply. And he does this twice. The first ammo dump he runs to is about 1,000 yards, or I'm sorry, about 100 yards behind the line. He a mixture of crawling and running, he makes it back to this ammo supply point. The Japanese had not discovered it. Now, keep in mind, when he does this, he leaves Ed Garland and John Powell on the machine guns. He's running by himself from the machine gun position back to this ammo dump, and there's Japanese infiltrators between that machine gun position and the ammo resupply point. So he's running through the woods by himself, the jungle by himself, amidst little groups of Japanese soldiers here and there.
Bring your 45.
Just crazy, just absolutely crazy. He makes it back to this ammo resupply point though, and ends up, grabbing belts of ammunition. And the stories say that he got about 100 pounds worth of ammo. I mean, I believe that. I'm just saying I don't know for sure if that's true, but that's the story. He got about 100 pounds worth of .30 caliber ammo. The belts hanging over his shoulders and neck and stuff. and low crawls back to the machine gun position. Gets the guns resupplied, reloaded. They continue to engaging the Japanese, and eventually they are close to running out of ammunition again. And this time, they're also out of water, right? And with those water-cooled 30 caliber machine guns, it's vitally important to have the water because the barrels will start melting if you don't.
Yeah.
And nowadays, you can change the barrel. That you do a barrel change drill with these, with a 240 or an M60. Even the later 30 calibers, the ones that are air cooled and not water cooled, you do a barrel change. You can't really change the barrel on these water cooled ones without like really taking the gun apart.
Right.
At one point in the fight, Basilone has one of his guys urinate into the barrel to make sure it has some kind of liquid in there to keep it cooled. And it, I guess, according to the story, it worked, but they're out of water now. So now he needs water and ammunition. So this time he runs back to an ammunition resupply point that's 600 yards behind the line.
Far out, dude.
That is super far. He goes by himself, gets ammo, gets water, runs back to this machine gun position, just in time for another bonsai charge. And there's reports of the Japanese soldiers saying, Marines, you die, bonsai, yelling across the jungle. But needless to say, man, he never gave up. The three of them held that sector of the line. Now, in all actuality, there's about 3,000 Japanese soldiers attacking that portion of the line. How many directly, came in direct contact with John Basilone? Truthfully, you'll never be able to actually tell. But they're fairly confident that ninth company, that first initial company, 130 to 200 guys strong, is pretty much wiped out solely because of John Basilone's guns.
Right.
When they count the bodies around their position, I think they count 35 Japanese, but that's in the immediate vicinity.
Right.
That ninth company is decimated. I think they have almost no survivors. He completely wipes them out, and they're the ones that are actually attacking that position. They know that from Japanese records and American records. So it's just unbelievable. So yeah, man, for his actions in defense of the line there, the southern perimeter of the Lunga defenses, John Basilone was awarded the Medal of Honor.
Nice.
And yeah. He was
Well-deserved.
hard charging, dude.
Yeah, hard charging.
Marine legend.
That he is, man. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this clip from America Fog of War, catch the rest of the episode here.